So here's some before videos slash pictures of this tail panel here. I don't know what happened. I'm assuming someone backed into something. I don't think they got rear-ended because, I mean, the quarters are straight, the frame rails are straight, the trunk was all fine. There was a little buckle in the bumper here. We straightened out the best we could. But I mean, this was all dented up here. And then you got this dent right here, which aligns with the trunk dent right there. So I'm not totally sure. But somebody made a nice custom aluminum patch and decided to rivet it on right here and then make it look like SEMA quality with about a 1/8 inch of bondo across the entire thing. So that's pretty cool. Finding a lot more holes involved in this. I mean, yeah, I'm just excited to get this replaced and have no more water leaking in this trunk here. What's going on, everyone? As you have probably seen by the title and thumbnail and some clips before this, we are replacing the tail panel right here in this video. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna put any clips in. Just assembling this thing last night, but if I did, you probably have already seen that. The deal with this one is there was a lot of rust. I don't know if I'd really say rust, but just more or less holes, because I think somebody backed into a pole or a fence at some point, and then they kind of just slapped some bondo over it and called it good. The issue with that is around the tail lights, there was a lot of holes, and water would leak in, and then it would go sit right in the brand new trunk floor. So we probably weren't going to get to replacing this for a while, because it wasn't, I mean, it was a priority, but I was kind of more focusing on some other projects that'll be coming soon. But AMD up here, where's their banner? Right there, stepped in and helped me out with a brand new tail panel for this thing. So I'm going to walk you through what it looks like right now, and then we'll get to work cutting this thing up. So just by first glance here, you can see these rust holes. Now I was picking away at this last night. They weren't as bad, but I mean a screwdriver just went right through that. And here is where you can see there's quite a bit of bondo on this thing, and like I said, all around the tail light housings here. I actually have some videos of when we tested this. I laid in the trunk, my dad sprayed it with the hose, and I'll throw those in right here so you can actually see where the water would leak in through the corners.
Yeah, it's totally leaking from both taillights. That's the only spots. And my butt is completely soaked right now.
Nothing on these sides?
No, it's literally a waterfall by the taillights.
Yeah, I see that.
The sides are all good.
So yeah, quite a bit of water would leak in, and then obviously it would just go and sit down in the bottom of the trunk underneath this spare tire right there. So I'm excited to get this replaced. You can see it's just somebody replaced it with their own aluminum patch panel, and it was riveted on. So that was pretty funny. I mean, other than that, this tail panel's not in too bad of a shape. Last night we got the gas tank out, the harness out, all the taillights out, bumper off, and then I went ahead and just put this tarp over kind of the trunk area and the back glass because I don't want sparks going in there and get a bunch of dust. Just make for some easier cleanup. So right now what we're going to do is start kind of grinding down these edges, find out where all the spot welds are. I know there's some along this seam right here. There's definitely some right here, and then some along the bottom here. So I'm not totally sure how this gets attached to the metal underneath it. So hopefully we can figure that out in order to put the new one back on. Now that all the seams here are ground down, you can actually see where the spot welds are, so it makes it a lot easier. If you grind some of the paint off, the low spots are where the spot welds are. And now I'm going to go ahead and take a spot weld drill bit. I think I'm going to do this bottom lip first. These corners, I'm not totally sure how they are mounted to each other or how the tail panel goes onto the quarter there. Just kind of looking on the inside, it seems... Ooh, I don't know if you can really see that, but it seems that there is this piece right there that's part of the quarter, and the tail panel kind of just lays on top of it. Not totally sure though. We'll have to kind of figure that out as we go. So I just kind of ground this down to see if you could see any welds, and you cannot, so I think they're a little bit farther out. And then one thing I forgot to mention earlier is this centerpiece here. For the trunk lock, we're gonna leave it in the car actually. There's a couple spot welds down here and a couple up here we'll drill out. And this will stay with the car, so it'll kind of give us a guide on where to put the new one. Ta-da! Just like that, we no longer have a junk tail panel. That wasn't so bad. Yeah, that's a scary sight. I wanted to get this giant big part out of the way before I started drilling out all the spot welds. So like you can see here, there's still this lip. I have to go through and drill all these out, but I just want to cut it so that way I can kind of wiggle this and bend it easier. Like I said, this trunk part is gonna stay. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, probably rust treat it and paint the inside while I have the chance. And these corners here are gonna be the toughest part because obviously we cannot destroy the quarters and we can't destroy kind of this trunk lip, quarter lip, I don't really know what you call it. But yeah, this triangle part has to go. All this down here has to go. So we'll just kind of pick away little by little, find out where all the seams are. I know we have to make a patch panel for this part just looking at it, but hey, overall it's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with it. Well, I haven't updated you guys in a while, but in the video, this will be the next clip. It took me a couple hours to get this like corner section off. You can see some of the pieces down right there, and I did not want to destroy the good metal that's there. So from this half up is good. I'm really happy that this piece right here where the new tail panel will kind of sit onto is solid and flat. This was all good here. I had to take out the lead seam, so I just heated it up, scraped it out, came out super easily. And then what's kind of, I don't know, odd to me is that this part right here is totally rusted out, but this part's fine. And this piece is fine. So I'm not really sure what happened, but I'm gonna make a new patch for that because there's no way I can weld to that at all. It's just garbage. And then I'm gonna have to make a patch for like that section right there because this is really flimsy too. But other than that, I'm happy with it. I did not destroy the quarter or anything. It looks really nice. And now I'm gonna move on to getting this bottom lip out, and I'll just kind of move my way across until I get to that side. Alright, we're heating up the lead on this side to get it off, and I thought I'd kind of show you guys. It's heating up with the blowtorch, and you can see it starting to drip down just like so. And then it immediately cools as soon as it hits the ground down there. So we'll kind of heat this up here, set the blowtorch down, and then you can just scrape it right off. Pretty simple. Obviously you gotta make sure you are wearing a mask during this because this stuff is toxic. But hey, other than that, actually looks pretty good right there. So I'll finish this up, and then I got this whole bottom lip off already. I'll clean it up and then show you guys what it looks like then. I've officially made a gigantic mess, if I haven't done that already earlier today. But check this out. We have ourselves a new patch panel right there. So I had to make that part that kind of curves down like that from there to there to match that side because this was all completely rusted out. So that actually looks really good on there. And then I had to make this piece right here just like that tab right there because the original one looked like this. So yeah, there was no way anything was going to weld to that. I mean, it wasn't even salvageable, so it literally just kind of came right off super easily. So I'm happy with those two patch panels, and then I went ahead and ground all this down, cleaned it up because I figured, you know what, might as well do it right now, do this bottom lip on the underside there. So I'm going to clean all this up, and then what I'm going to do is throw some weld through primer on that patch panel, same with this one here, and then I'll throw some bare metal primer on this. And that's going to be it for today. So hopefully tomorrow we can get the new piece maybe on, at least maybe clecoed in or clamped on. I'd like to get it. It needs a little bit of adjustments. We're kind of mocking it up, but it's looking good so far. Starting off the following day here by mocking up the new tail panel. And dude, this thing looks sweet. Without a doubt, this is the nicest body panel on the car. I mean, that looks so cool. Just step back for a second. Oh, I can't wait to get that fully welded on. So huge thank you to AMD for once again sending me this, along with the new taillight bracket housings. And these simply just weld to the backside of the tail panel. It would have been a pain to try and take these off without destroying them and save them. So I'm glad they sent those along as well. And I'm not totally sure if those get welded to the tail panel before we weld this onto the car or vice versa. So we'll have to figure that out. But right now I gotta do a little more trimming on the body and quarters up here. And then this thing should just pop on perfectly. We can start getting it marked out to weld. So we are just about to weld this tail panel on for good. We spent the past few hours kind of just mocking everything up, massaging the metal here and there, cleaning it up, making a couple more patch panels, all the little details and prep work, and it's time to get this thing on. So I'll show you guys what we've been working on. Obviously this looks a little different now. Went through and put some weld through primer on every bare metal spot just for some extra safety, so no rust will get on there. And then while I was doing that, I went ahead and cleaned up this whole bottom lip. I also did some work on the tail panel. I'll show you in just a second. My dad went ahead and made a new piece right here. So it's this L bracket, and then on the inside there's a curve. So it's a little bit of a tricky piece to make, but you can see the old one here. Yeah, it was shot, so there was no way you could weld anything to that. And then this hole right here, that's actually where the bolt for the bumper goes. So I am really happy with the way that looks. All the primer looks nice. And then on the tail panel over here, I went ahead and marked out all of the holes and drilled them. So on the bottom, I just spaced each one 2 inches apart. I used a 1/4 inch drill bit. Same thing with the sides here. And then on the tops, like these corners, I went ahead and did it the same way the factory did it. So there's 3 up top here with 2 in between on the bottom, and then just 2 on this little kind of corner slash lip right there. And got some on the middle for the trunk lock brace. And now that that is all done, we can go ahead and start burning this thing in. Okay, I filmed this clip multiple times now, and I have not liked any of them, but this will be the final one because I'm tired and I want to get this done with. So I don't remember what the last clip in the video was, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you what we've got done. So this whole section right here, along with this section all across the bottom and the couple spot welds on the top, are all welded in and ground down. Dude, that looks pretty sweet. I'm really happy with it. I had to make a couple patch panels behind that section down in there, so you can see there. All this looks really good. I'm pretty happy with it. So tomorrow I'll go ahead and finish up welding in that side over there. I have to make a patch panel for underneath there, just a little 90. And yeah, it's looking pretty sweet. So I wanted to get this done this weekend. It's Sunday night now, but this is something you shouldn't rush. It takes some time, so I'm okay with that. Like I said, tomorrow hopefully I can get this finished welded in, put those taillight brackets in, and then we can move on to the bodywork and paint. So I'm mocking up the taillights and taillight brackets here before I go ahead and weld them in, and I don't know, it's kind of frustrating. The driver's side here fits like perfectly. I'm really happy with that. You can see this kind of angular piece goes up to the inside of the trunk lip, which is exactly where the stock one goes. It'll go perfectly along the bottom seam here, fits nice and tight. And I was looking at some pictures online, and you should not be able to see the seal around the sides, which you can't. And once I get the new seal on this one, it'll fit much more tighter and look better. But this one, yeah, as you guys can see, this taillight's pretty beat. So on the old tail panel, there's a giant dent right here that lines up with the giant dent in the trunk. We had to pound that out. But yeah, I think somebody backed into a pole or something and destroyed this tail light, and it's kind of just been crumbling apart ever since. But like I said, you can see the seal on this side and this side here, and there's a gap right there. So obviously this taillight housing is like warped or something. The taillight bracket is straight. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I got this one marked out already. I'm gonna go ahead and weld it in, drill out all the holes for the spot welds, and then I'll take some measurements, measure it, and kind of eyeball it with this one to get it perfectly centered. So the first taillight bracket is all welded in place now. That was the easiest piece to weld because it's clean metal to clean metal. And I gotta say, it did fit really, really nice. Obviously I just put the taillights in it to kind of figure out side to side where it's supposed to go. But drilled some spot weld holes, got it all welded up, and it looks sweet. So I just did some holes along the bottom there, and then there's some on the top lip, and then there's two on that kind of triangle piece that goes up onto the trunk lip there. Here, so yeah, you can see the ones that went through there, and then the two that went through there. Really happy with that. Now that it's done, move on to the passenger side here and wrap this thing up. One last final look at the inside of the tail panel here while it's all nice and clean. Last step for this video here is to apply the seam sealer, which is what I'm doing right now. Just using some Eastwood brushable seam sealer. Honestly works perfectly. We've used it throughout the entire car and it's really nice. So once I go through and get all the seams around here finished up, I'll go ahead and close off the video. The bumper and taillights are all back in place, and that looks sweet. I'm like 99% sure I'm gonna go ahead and paint this tail panel black because it actually looks pretty cool when you stand back and it's blacked out like that. I don't know though. I'll give it a few days, think about it, but I'm not gonna do the body work or prime it until then. I just threw some bare metal primer over the corners and everything while I drive it this week. And then I got it fully sealed up, did 2 coats of seam sealer. I just got the harness laying in there for now. Got all my stuff back in the trunk. But don't look too closely at the gap between the bumper and the tail panel here. It's gonna need a new bumper one day. You can see it was buckled. Like I said, I'm pretty sure someone backed into something at some point, and that's how this whole kind of area back here got destroyed and what started this all. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Can't remember if I said it or not. Been filming a ton of stuff for other videos this week, but this video was just specifically the fabrication side of it and actually replacing it. I'll definitely do a video on painting it, matching the patina, and doing the stripe on the tail panel if I decide to go that route. But if I decide to just paint it black, that doesn't really need to be its own video. We'll see what I decide. Thank you again to AMD for sending me the tail panel along with the taillight brackets for this thing. It fit really nice, all welded in good, and that is officially the nicest body panel on the entire car. So I'm really happy with it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this one off here. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.